While many people consider Christmas the most wonderful time of the year, others get the holiday blues. Medical reporter Lorie explains why this season can bring people down and how to make it merry.
If you don't feel merry and bright during the holiday season, you're not alone. Studies show anxiety and depression increase this time of year.
Many people head into the holidays facing cold weather and a time change, which can drive us inside a lot more than at other times during the year. For some, this decreased exposure to sunlight can lead to a certain type of depression called seasonal affective disorder, or SAD.
We can trick our minds into thinking we're catching some rays, however, using one of these so-called happy lights.
Head-to-head against antidepressants for seasonal depression, bright light therapy has been found to be more effective.
Also, don't get involved in too many of the wrong activities, like drinking too much.
There's a whole increase in alcohol the last 2 months of the year, and alcohol is a depressant, helps you feel good now, but clearly not tomorrow.
And overindulging on holiday sweets.
Sugar is pro-inflammatory. It means it increases inflammation in your body, and inflammation is clearly associated with depression.
On the other hand, a healthy diet can lift the mood.
You should try to get 5 servings of colorful fruits and vegetables, and then healthy fat, olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds, wild fish, all decrease the risk of depression.
Getting plenty of sleep goes a long way towards good mental health, as does exercise, proven by comparing sedentary people taking antidepressants with those who briskly walked for 45 minutes 4 times a week.
What they found was at the end of 12 weeks, they were equally less depressed. At the end of 10 months, the exercise group was way better than the antidepressant group.
Since grief and loneliness can intensify during the holidays, try to get a lift by doing things like volunteering or getting involved at church. To avoid feeling disappointed, keep expectations low, a tip that can be especially useful when dealing with family.
What's the best predictor of behavior? It's past behavior.
And if you feel disrespected, it's okay to cut that visit short.
We teach people how to treat us by what we tolerate.
And finally, if your angst comes from your own negative thoughts, challenge them.
Whenever you feel sad, mad, nervous, or out of control, write down what you're thinking and just go, is that really true?
So while a number of things can trigger the holiday blues, certain strategies can help keep them at bay. Gordon?
Well, Lorie, we're all dealing with inflation, high interest rates on credit cards, so everybody is spending either more or less this Christmas gift for Christmas gifts. What can people do to manage all the financial stress that's coming right now?
Boy, there is a lot of financial stress, especially this year. So what you want to make sure to do is create a budget. And the goal when you're creating a budget is to not go into debt. Think about January and February. You want to make sure that you aren't paying interest on your credit card. So with that in mind, think about all the people you're going to be buying for and decide how much you're going to spend on each person and stick to it, which means don't drink and shop. Because remember, alcohol lowers our inhibitions and causes us to regret things later. Another thing you might want to consider is homemade gifts. A lot of times they're a lot less expensive. People love them. We all have talents, things like woodworking. Maybe you can knit or cook. Food gifts are always great. And keep in mind that this is not a competition where the winner is the one who spends the most money on gifts. And also remember that the amount of money you spend does not equal how much you love the person, meaning that, if you love a person a lot, you need to spend a lot. That they're not the same thing. Gordon?
Well, my daughter might disagree with you on that last point.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's when she was just very little, 5 years old, she came to me and said, "Daddy, I don't have enough jewelry and makeup." So I knew I was in trouble on that one. I've got to tell you, I've never gone drinking and shopping. It's never happened to me ever.
Well, good for you, but there are a lot of people who do that, and that cracks me up. I know your daughter, and I can absolutely imagine her saying that. And, you know, that's a good point about being pressured. And, you know, a lot of people will try to make you feel that the amount of money you spend on them is associated with love, and we need to resist that temptation.
Okay, let's talk about sunlight, because one of the things that happens in the winter months is we want to stay inside because it's warm. So what are the effects of not getting enough sunlight during the winter months, and why is sunlight so important to mental health?
Yeah, so when the sunlight hits our eyes, it triggers a certain part of our retina to cue our brain to produce a chemical called serotonin, which increases our mood and actually helps us sleep better, which also increases our mood. And then also, when sunlight hits our skin, it causes our body to produce something called nitric oxide, which helps lower our blood pressure and relaxes us. So regarding those happy lights, they're called light therapy lights. They're specifically called light therapy lights. You can buy them online. You just sit in front of them for 20 to 30 minutes a day, but make sure you get the right kind of light. Not any old light will do.
Okay, let's talk about family gatherings, because sometimes they can be stressful.
Yeah.
So what are the tips for dealing with the anxiety of an upcoming visit?
Yeah, this one, you know, affects a lot of people. What you want to make sure to do is pray, and ask God to fill you specifically with gratitude and also forgiveness. A lot of mental health experts say gratitude and forgiveness are the keys to happiness. With that in mind, lower your expectations. A lot of us think, oh, you know, I hope this year is going to be different. But as Dr. Amen just said, and this is so important, Gordon, is the best predictor of how a person is going to behave is how they have behaved in the past. So if you have a volatile family situation, you need to devise an escape plan. You might want to think about maybe not staying in the same home, you know, getting a hotel, cutting the visit short, and making, you know, staying away from alcohol. Alcohol sometimes is just fuel for that fire.
Okay. Well, Lorie, thanks for the insight, and I'll be sure not to go to family events either. No drinking and shopping, and no drinking at family events. But we're Baptists, and so we've been doing that for decades.
There you go. All right. Well, Merry Christmas to you and everybody watching.
All right. Merry Christmas, Lorie.